wager me this. This is going to be my Thursday night NFL season opener gift to all of you guys on YouTube. I'm going to give out every single pick that I am either playing or am going to play. Either way, all of these plays have already been made, or I'm waiting until Thursday to see if I get a little bit better number. Either way, I like all of them, and that's what I'm playing. So that's what I'm going to give out to. I'm going to give out a full breakdown and analysis, and I'm going to put it in the description after I get done with the video. So you'll be able to just come back to this video, check out the description, see what you like. That way you don't have to keep rewatching the video and all that good stuff. You know, it'll be there, and you can check it out. And there you go. So that's what we're going to do. Googs, what is going on, buddy? And so for all you guys that haven't signed up for my package, it's $25 at wagermethis.com. It gives you everything. It gives you the Discord chat, which people seem to think is pretty good. I happen to like it a lot myself. But let's get right into this game. So it is everybody's darling this season and last season. Now, let's not forget they were everyone's darling last season too. The Buffalo Bills. All right. The Buffalo Bills going against the world champs, the Los Angeles Rams, in Los Angeles, in the Rams' house. For some reason, for some insane reason, in my opinion, the Bills are favored. It doesn't make any sense that the Bills are favored in this game. I don't understand that. The Bills are no different last year besides Von Miller, really. Top to bottom, they're basically the same football team, except for Von Miller. So, it's just, it's a very odd line to me. Like, I think that's the first thing that jumped right out to me, is I didn't expect the Rams to open as a big favorite. I didn't. But I did expect it to at least be a pick'em. And because it is the world champions, and one guy did trade teams, essentially. One of the guys that was a big part of the championship is on the Bills now. But that's a piece the Bills didn't really have. So it did make the Bills better. They did need an elite pass rusher, and they found that in Von Miller. But it's not like the Rams got worse. Now, the Rams lost Von Miller, but they got Bobby Wagner. So, yeah, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the same caliber of defensive player. Bobby Wagner is probably the best middle linebacker. Hello, everybody. He's probably the best middle linebacker of the last 10 years. Bobby Wagner is. Bills did okay. So they drafted some receivers, but they're not playing. They're not. You know, they got Crowder and stuff, but them guys are they're back in the depth chart. Their depth chart says Diggs, Davis, and McKenzie as their receivers. All them guys were there last year. The one thing the Bills did also was that they did kind of get rid of their old D-line and using all the young guys that they've been drafting. Like, they got rid of like all these older players they had there, brought in Von Miller, and it's all a bunch of young guys on the D-line. So I'm going to talk about the Bills' defense really quick, right? Guys, there's no doubt that the Bills' defense is really good. There's a reason it was ranked either top or second last year, besides just not giving up a ton of points. Part of why they didn't give up a ton of points was their schedule, so let's not forget that. But one of the things that the Bills did really good was they were really good at covering receivers, because they have 2 elite safeties, and they had an elite cornerback for most of the year. Well, they don't have him. He's out the first 4 games. Tre'Davious White is still hurt. So their 2 corners are unproven guy and a rookie. I just don't think I don't think that fares well going against a really good passing team in the Rams. I don't think having weak corners goes well here. And you do have the safeties, but one of them is coming back off injury also. So now the one thing the Bills have is 2 great linebackers and they have a pretty solid D line. I mean, there's a reason why they were ranked number one. Besides the schedule, they were pretty good too. So, but just some things to know about the Bills before you go running out and buying the hype train on the Bills. The hype train's real on the Bills, but it doesn't mean they'll win every game. That's the thing about these hype trains, right? The hype train can be real, but they can still go 14-3 or 13-4 and still be an amazing team, right? They could go 11-6 and still be an amazing team. So there is games they're going to lose. They're not an undefeated football team. Another thing you might want to know is the Bills were they were really bad at winning close games last year. They were absolutely Don. They were absolutely terrible at winning close games last year. I think if the memory serves me right, they were either 1-6 or 0-6 in close games, in games decided by one score. They just didn't play in them well. And if you think back, the ones they lost that crazy game to the Titans. They lost a game to the Patriots like that, to the Jaguars. There was just some really odd losses. So if the Bills, if they're not blowing you out, if the Bills aren't blowing you out, they have chinks in the armor. Okay, I will get to that, Mr. Don. I will allow that one thing to go through. But what more so even than that, right? More so even than that is that let's not forget who won the Super Bowl last year. Let's not forget that the Rams are really good. All right? They are no joke. They are serious. The Rams can play football. Yes, they don't have Odell. That's a big loss, but they replaced him with a good receiver. A for sure good receiver. We know Allen Robinson can play football. They're going to have their tight end back. I mean, the only real injury concern that the Rams just have is Jalen Ramsey fully healthy. He came off shoulder surgery recently. He is listed to start. So is he 100% healthy? I doubt he's 100%. But he's going to play in this game because he's Jalen Ramsey and he likes to compete. So overall, in my opinion, I don't think this game is a pick'em to me. It's a pure pick'em. And you're getting the benefit of getting 2.5 points or 2. Just depends on where you're looking. I fully think that without a doubt, this game comes down to the last possession. Yep. I think this game will come down to the last possession. And I'm going to go in and explain why. All right? One of the reasons is I don't think the Bills' defense can put the Rams away. I don't think that they can. Well, everyone's saying this. Stafford, he's even saying his elbow's fine. So I got to go by what they're saying and what he's saying. But I don't think that they can put them away. They couldn't put like the Titans, and there was teams that they couldn't put away throughout the season. And guys, I don't think the Bills have changed that much from last year. I don't think they have. I do think they added a good piece in Von Miller, but I don't think that just made them like a whole new football team. I think if anything, the emergence of Gabriel Davis being a good receiver is more important than Von Miller being a good pass rusher, because they also needed a second guy to catch passes besides Diggs. Because Diggs doesn't disappear. So what I'm saying here, guys, is that in a game that the Rams have to feel disrespected. They have to. The Rams aren't getting any love on repeating at the Super Bowl champions. The Rams aren't getting any love in their first game of the season. They got to feel disrespected. All right? So I'm going to give you guys some stats, all right? These are some actual stats from last season. And I feel like they're very applicable here because both teams are basically the same. And both teams had the same problems. Both teams lost the same coordinators to other teams. So they're both breaking in new coordinators. So they had the same problems, right? So they're very comparable. All right, here we go. The Bills had a good ATS record. They were 10-7-2 ATS last year. They were 5-4 as a road team, straight up. 3-1-1 in non-conference games. They were 10-9 to the over. In the postseason, they were 6-3 ATS or whatever in their last 9 games, which is kind of tricky because some of them were not Josh Allen, I think. And the Bills have been pretty good ATS. They really have. All right, the Rams really have not. The Rams were 11-10 or 10-11, sorry, ATS last season. They were 5-6 as the home team. 1-5 in non-conference games. ATS. That's tricky. 1-5 ATS in non-conference. And they were 10-10 to the over and won. 10-10 and 1 to the over. The Rams were not a spread covering team. But the Rams were favored in almost every game. Almost every single game they were favored. So that's a little different. Now Buffalo was too, but that's a little different than being the underdog. And a lot of you guys will understand that it's easier to cover spreads as the underdog. All you have to do is score points as opposed to win the game. So that's some interesting stats, right? Okay, so here's some more good stats. Buffalo Bills averaged a ton of yards a game. 381.9 yards a game on offense. They were actually just really good on offense. But again, let's not forget, their schedule helped with that. Their schedule had a lot of good matchups, right? But the Rams weren't bad either. Remember, the Bills were 381. The Rams held their own at a 373 clip. The Rams could play offense too. The one difference is they kind of did it differently. Now, both of them were big passing teams, but the Rams actually ran the ball a little bit as well with the running backs. All right, let's look at we're going to talk about some trends really quick. The total has gone over the total in 8 of the last 9 games that the Rams and the Bills have played. The totals went over. I don't know how applicable that is with all the changes. But it's still 8 of the last 9 was interesting. Buffalo is 5-1 straight up. 5-1 straight up in its last 6 games. Obviously, the Chiefs' loss was the loss. The LA Rams are 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games. Now, these two are applicable. Why? Because it's the same teams, same coaches, same quarterbacks, same star players. Right, so them two are applicable. So the Rams have been on a hotter streak than the Bills. Obviously, the Rams won the Super Bowl, and that does help. But they've definitely been the hotter team of the two. As far as... Hold on, I'm looking down my list a little bit. All right. As far as what I think... So them are some good... angles here to be looking at, right? Both teams, this is what I'm getting at. This is I'm building up for why I'm going to pick picks. All right, I'm building this up to this because these are all the reasons that are going to be the why. All right. So my Bills stuff. I think that Von Miller was a great addition. I think the not having a stud pass rusher was one of the Bills' biggest weaknesses. And I think it showed in the Kansas City game. Even though that one was a crazy output of, it was just a crazy game, right? Super tons of points, but the Bills really never got any pressure. Not when they needed it, for sure. Von Miller's that guy that instant play. He can make it happen, especially in the playoffs. If you guys want to see one of the best statistical profiles for a pass rusher in the playoffs, go check out Von Miller's playoff stats. It's very, very amazing what he's done in the playoffs when he's got his chances. So that's one of the interesting things there. The other interesting thing is that Tre'Davious White is out. And Tre'Davious White being out was Tre'Davious White was the Bills' lockdown, shutdown corner. He goes on all the best receivers. Against the Rams, that's a big deal. They happen to have the best receiver from last year, the top dog from last year. So not being able to lock up one-on-one with a guy like Cooper Kupp or even a guy like Allen Robinson is going to be an issue. Now, the other pieces on the Bills can cover up a lot of this, but guys, if you go look at their rookies, look at their corners. One is a good rookie corner that's probably going to be pretty good. The other guy is just a guy, and they got 3 or 4 of them that are just guys. They're hoping that one of them turns out to be pretty good. Some are like 3-year guys. There's nothing special at the cornerback spot without White, and that's what I'm getting at. Is there's nothing special on the Bills defense at the cornerback spot. Going against a very pass-centric team like the Rams, that's not a good thing. So they better be able to get pressure. If they don't get pressure on Stafford, he's going to shred them. And with the receivers that he has, it's going to be nasty if they don't get pressure. Now, are they going to be able to get pressure? Possibly. You know, let's not forget, you know, they did... the lineman, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He retired. The Rams star lineman, been there forever. He's like 40. He retired. So the left tackle is going to be an issue, right? Have they addressed that in the offseason? Well, yeah. I mean, because that was their biggest hole. You know, they had to figure that out. So I think that I actually think that the Bills' corners are going to be the problem and that's what's going to turn this game into a shootout. I think if Tre'Davious White was there, I think this spread might be correct. If Tre'Davious White's there, where they can lock down one receiver, and then Matthew Stafford is kind of one-armed at that point. He's got one guy to be going to at that point. Not being able to lock down either receiver is going to cause a lot of problems. Plus, they got a good tight end. Plus, they got 2 okay backs. And their third receiver, guys, it's either going to be that kid that showed out. There's one kid he showed out in preseason. I mean, had just a great preseason. And then they also have Jefferson. But I think Jefferson may be injured for this game, but we'll see what happens there. Now let's go to the Rams. All right. The Rams lost Von Miller and Odell. Big deals, right? The Rams were good before they had Von Miller and Odell last year. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that they were pretty damn good before those guys. The difference is the Rams replaced those guys. The Rams said, hey, let's go get Allen Robinson and let's go get Bobby Wagner. Now, is Bobby Wagner a pass rusher? No. But he adds a different element to their defense. And I actually think the defense will be better with Bobby Wagner over Von Miller. And I am a huge Von Miller fan. I'm a ridiculously big Von Miller fan. But I think what Bobby Wagner can do is so much different. He's so much more versatile that with Aaron Donald in the middle and the front, Bobby Wagner in the middle at the linebacker spot and a lockdown corner, I actually think it covers up some of their problems with their safeties. Because what it does is now the safeties can play a traditional safety position and not have to come up for the run as much. Because Bobby Wagner is going to clean up the run. And that's what I think. I actually think the Rams got better on defense and not worse. Which is probably not everybody's thought on this. But it is the way I'm looking at it. Because I watched Bobby Wagner play for years. And sideline to sideline, he's as good as any player in the NFL. He's one of the smartest players in the NFL. With a stud D lineman in front of him, like Aaron Donald, I really think he's going to have a stellar year. I actually think Bobby Wagner will have more interceptions than normal, too. because of the presence of Aaron Donald in front of him. All right, so what do I think is going to go on in this game? So let's go back to last season. I had a very specific play week 1 of last season. It was the Buffalo Bills playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Buffalo Bills were a touchdown favorite. And I said that the Pittsburgh Steelers would beat them outright. The Pittsburgh Steelers did beat them outright. And the reason being is that Buffalo was the darling. And that's what's happening here. Buffalo is the darling again. They're everyone's favorite pick. The problem is that the teams they're playing aren't bad. The same thing that happened last year. Let's not forget Pittsburgh made the playoffs. So they were pretty good. You know, they were able to get it done. And that's what I'm getting at is that I don't think Buffalo is better than the Rams. And I think Buffalo, even though they've probably been out there all week, they are playing away from home. It is the opening day. There's going to be some opening day jitters, obviously. There's going to be a lot of fanfare in this game. It's not going to be a very traditional game. It's going to have a lot of stuff going on, ring ceremony, all that good stuff. Kind of thing. It's just, in my opinion, a very trappy spot for the Buffalo Bills. So what do I think is going to happen? I think that the lack of corners on Buffalo is going to turn this into a shootout. And I think that the Bills will be able to score on defense. I mean, on offense, they will score. But I don't think they're really going to do much to stop the Rams either. So I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I think that the power the Rams possess on offense, which is getting highly overlooked, just how talented they really are on offense. They have 2 legit receivers, 2 number 3 receivers, a top 10 tight end, and 2 mediocre running backs. But the way they use them, they do their job, right? And they have the game-winning drive Super Bowl champion quarterback with the monkey off his back now. He doesn't have to do anything but win. He's already got that title in hand now. So the hungry team is the Bills, right? It's the Bills are the ones that are going to be, pressing. It's not the Rams. And I think coming into this game calm, knowing who they are, I just think that the Rams have the edge here. They're at home. Home field does matter in the NFL. Maybe not so much as college matters more. It does matter in the NFL in situational spots. This is a situational spot, being that it's the week 1 game, the Super Bowl champions, and they didn't change any. They're the same team. Maybe the faces changed a little bit, but they got the same style of players, the same caliber of players. The Bills didn't change any. All right. Do I think that the Bills are better than the Rams? I don't. Do I think by the end of the season the Bills may be better than the Rams? Yeah, probably will. But week 1, game 1 game try, I like the Rams here plus the 2.5. I think this game could actually come down to a 1-point game. I actually think that spread could come into play. So that's my first pick, is I like the Rams plus 2.5. My second pick for this is on the total. I think this goes over 51.5. I think it goes over. And the reason I think it goes over is because I don't think the Bills will stop the Rams very many times. I actually think the Rams will lead a lot of scoring drives. And guys, what does it take to get to 51? 27-24 is the 51-point score, right? 27-24 is 51. I think this game is going to be in the lower 30s probably, and that's kind of crazy to say, right? But I keep coming back to the Bills corners, and I'm thinking Cooper Kupp versus a rookie or a guy that shouldn't even be playing, and then Allen Robinson versus the same. I even rolling those stud safeties over for help, that opens the middle of the field for the tight end. And that's where I'm at here, is I I can't put together how they defend the Rams. I can put together how the Rams defend the Bills, but I can't put together how the Bills defend the Rams. And it all has to do with that cornerback position. And so I like that over 51.5. I also like a same game teaser here of teasing the Rams up and the total down. So taking the Rams up to 8 plus 8.5 and taking the total down to 45.5 and going over. I like that as well. And I like it for the same reasons that I think the Rams, I think this game is going to come down to a very close field goal at the end, or maybe a touchdown drive, something. But I think it's going to be close at the end. And I think that the Rams get it done in the end here. I think the Rams will win the game, but I'm going to take the 2.5 just because I think it's going to be so close. Now, heading to the prop market. The one great thing about this game is it's kind of like the Super Bowl to start the season, and there's a ton of props on it. Like, there's all kinds of props you can play on this game. But the couple I saw that were just really good looking props is the first one is Josh Allen to have a rushing TD anytime during the game is at plus 160. I actually saw it plus 170 on DraftKings. All right, Josh Allen to just score a rushing touchdown. And so let's talk about it. I think there's a few ways this happens. Obviously, in the red zone, he does run some footballs in, right? He could break one and get past the defense and break for 20 or so. But the goal line play, just line Josh Allen and punch it up the middle. There's a lot of ways this makes sense. But one of the weak spots of the defense for the Rams is the ends. And I think Josh Allen can run around the end a little bit. And down inside the 5, I think we're going to see that. And I think the Bills will get down there enough times to get a couple opportunities at this. And at plus 160, you just can't. It's hard to not take this. Josh Allen for a rushing TD. I like that. I really like that prop. As far as, hold on, I'm looking at something else. Okay. As far as the next one is another Josh Allen prop, and this has to do with that I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Is Josh Allen a completion in the game over 37.5 yards? And the reason I like this one is because I think every receiver on the Bills runs routes that are that long. It's not one guy. All of them run those routes. So that kind of makes the Bills' offense uniquely dangerous, right? Because Gabriel Davis runs over the middle posts. Diggs runs posts. McKenzie runs posts. Even their tight end Dawson Knox runs up the seam. And, Josh Allen moves around a lot, breaks containment. Next thing you know, he launches a big one. And it's less than 40 yards. Josh Allen will throw passes in this game where they're in the air for 40 yards. So I actually like this one. It's not a great price. It's at minus 110. But I just think that there's actually probably going to be more than one of these in the game that are over that. And you always have the other thing that could happen where, he throws a little flat pattern and it breaks. There's always that as well. So you're getting all of those pieces of the puzzle in there. And, there's just a good chance that that happens. And, like I said, I think this is going to be a shootout. So I'm expecting Josh Allen to throw the ball 35 plus times, which is a whole bunch. And I think that we're going to see, a pretty good bunch of throws that are pretty deep from both sides. But I like the Josh Allen prop better just because I think Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp are less of the deep threat. So I like the Josh Allen side of this better. Now, down to another prop that I love, all right? Cooper Kupp over 7.5 receptions at plus 105. The reason I like this prop is the corners. I think Cooper Kupp will be open on every single play. It wouldn't surprise me if Cooper Kupp has 6 receptions in the first half. In the very first half, he could easily have 6 receptions. The last drive of last year in the Super Bowl, I think Cooper Kupp had 5 receptions in that drive, plus like 2 that got called back on penalties. So, I mean, Matthew Stafford throws the ball to Cooper Kupp, and he does it on a regular basis. And against corners that won't be able to cover him, he's going to be open a lot. All right, 7.5 is too low, and you're getting in at plus money. It's just a good play. You know he's going to get 10 or 12 targets. He's pretty sure-handed. I just think the corners, if he was having to face Tre'Davious White all day, I wouldn't like this, but he's not. Tre'Davious White is watching the game from the sidelines. So he's not having to worry about it. The last prop I like is Aaron Donald over 0.75 sacks at plus 150. This is saying that Aaron Donald won't get a sack by himself in this game. So I did some research, and last year Josh Allen was sacked 26 times. 26 times. That's a little more, about 1.5 per game. So the best pass rusher on the Rams only needs 0.75. I just think that there's the potential that Aaron Donald, beats his man so bad one time on a snap that even Josh Allen just falls on the ground, covers up and falls on the ground because he doesn't want to get blasted. Aaron Donald touches him down. I mean, I just think that there's too many angles here for Aaron Donald to just accidentally get a sack, And since I think he's going to drop back a bunch of times, I don't know. At plus 150, I just love this play. I think it's one of those deals where you have to play it at that value. And it's at 0.75, so he could get 2 half sacks and get there as well. But I like it. I think him getting 1 sack is all you're looking for is a very, very solid play. And it's at plus money. So if you don't like the lines in this one, that's the great part about this game, is there is a bunch of really good prop bets. Prop bets that you're getting plus money on, and you don't got to worry about a winner or a loser. You don't got to worry about points being scored. None of that. You can just go, but hey, I think Josh Allen's going to run a touchdown in. I mean, you're going to get a lot of opportunities at it, I think. And then on top of that, you're going to get Aaron Donald. So you could pair them. You could be like, okay, I'm going to bet both of these. One's plus 160, one's plus 150. If I hit one, I win money, So at that point, I just think that those 2 prop bets are so likely to hit that the value on them is wrong. I think that they should be way closer to 100, like even money, because game 1, hyped up, healthy. Both guys are healthy. I think it's going to be a close game, so this is going to be one of those deals where they're having to try hard. You only get 17 tries in the NFL, so you got to win all you can. I don't know. I just those are odd numbers to me. And I looked at the Bills O-line, and it's not that it's a bad O-line, but it's Aaron Donald. It's the best defensive player in the last 10 years. So I think he's going to get in the backfield a lot. And all he has to do is knock him down once. It just seems like a very simple play for a good price. Like I feel like if I seen this play every game, if my deal was that I could take Aaron Donald, if I could take Aaron Donald for 1 sack or 0.7 sacks every game, I just don't, at 150, I don't know how you could miss on that. You just have to play it every game, and all he would have to do, he would only have to get to 7 games, right? 7 games, and I think 7 games that he would cover, even if he missed 10 games. So it's just one of those deals where I think you got to play it. I think you got to play the Aaron Donald getting a sack here. But on top of that, this is going to be a good game, guys. I do think it's going to be tight. I don't think either team will pull away. I think both teams have some defensive deficiencies that the other team is really good at exploiting. I think that the edges without Von Miller, the reason they wanted Von Miller was because they really weren't getting edge pressure. So they don't have him now. I think the edges are going to be tricky for the Rams, and I think that Josh Allen will exploit it by rolling out of the pocket a lot, getting away from Aaron Donald as much as he can, which will create big plays down the field and give opportunities for Josh Allen to run the football. On the other side of that, I think the corners for the Bills have no chance against the receivers for the Rams. I think they're going to get torched. I would be highly surprised if Matthew Stafford don't go over 300 passing yards. I looked at the Stafford interception prop because I do love betting Stafford's interception prop. It's paid off for years and years and years for me. But it was minus 140, and I just don't want to go that. I would hate to go minus 140 on that because with the corners that I don't think are going to get a pick, it would leave it to the safeties or a tip ball, and I don't know. I don't like the interception prop as much as I normally like on Stafford, based on the price. If that was closer to even money, I'd be all over it. Just because Stafford has the tendency to throw them up every now and then, and them safeties will ball hawk them for the Bills. There's some pretty damn good safeties for the Bills. So it's too big of a price, especially when you can get Josh Allen to run a touchdown at plus money and Aaron Donald to get a sack at plus money. The Stafford negative money for an interception is just not worth it at that point. But I really do think that the Rams will be in this game. Late in the game, what I think is going to happen is I think that we're going to see a 31-30 game. Rams win it. I think the Bills score a late touchdown, go up on the Rams, and voila, here we are. We need a field goal. Mr. Matthew Stafford leads them down the field. Field goal range, bang, game over. 31-30 Rams is my prediction. Will I be right on that? Probably not. But because that's so hard to predict scores. But that is what I think. That is what I think will happen. That's where I'm at on it. I think I don't think either team is better than the other team. I think that the deficiencies on the defenses highlight the efficiencies and the good parts of the offenses. So that's why I think we're going to see a lot of scores. I do think we're going to see some good defensive plays. Like, I have no doubts in my mind that Stafford will probably throw a pick, but I just don't like the price. I think he'll either throw one at the end of the half or, he'll try to fit something over the middle that gets tipped up. I don't know. He just tends to get an interception a game. He's just good at it. Even games that they're winning, he seems to throw picks. So I love betting his interception props normally. I just can't take it at that price. I just don't like that price. But anyways, with that said, that's where I'm at on this, guys. So I'm going to put all this stuff. I got a whole printout workup thing that I'm going to put in the comments section. So you guys will be able to go look at it on this video if you're curious. That way you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to rewatch the video to hear everything I've said. If you like what I've said, if not, that's fine. Fade everything I got. Maybe you're right. I doubt you're right, but maybe you are. So, you never know. But what I would say is that if you're assuming the Rams are at a disadvantage in this game, I do think you're assuming incorrectly. I don't think the Bills are as good as the media is making them out to be. And that's not even the right answer. Actually, that's not even really right. What I'm more trying to say is I don't think the Rams are as far behind the Bills as the media is leading you to believe. There's a lot of media out there that is Bills, Bills, Bills. Even a lot of cappers out there are saying that the Bills are going to win this game by double digits. I I don't think so. I think Sean McVay is a very good coach. Not that I actually think the Bills coach is a very good coach as well, but I just think that Sean McVay, he's done it, right? He's got to the mountaintop now. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in like the last 6 years or whatever. I mean, he's great. I don't think he's going to let his team get blown out in this one. I don't think Stafford will either. I think that they're going to come to play. I think that they have the weapons on offense to turn this into a shootout and to have a great game. I think we're going to see a very entertaining, high-scoring, really good game. But I like the Rams. Like I said, I'm on the Rams side. They're at home. They're the Super Bowl champs. It's kind of one of those deals for me where I feel like the Bills are a little overhyped, just like I did last year. And it proved me right last year when I took the Steelers +7 on the money line. I had the Steelers as my upset of the week. They just, last year against the Bills in the exact same circumstance, kind of. Obviously, the Steelers weren't coming off a Super Bowl, but where the Bills were just this big hype machine going into the game and the Steelers were getting no love, that Steeler defense came to play that day. And they just kind of shut the Bills down. And now I don't think that's going to happen today in this one on Thursday night. But I do think that the Rams can score enough points to keep it close and to win the game. And that's where I'm at. So that's really all I have on the game. This is all my free picks. Like I said, I'm going to enter them into the description below when I get off here and I get on my computer, and I'll enter it all in. But yeah, that's what I like. If you guys want to ask some questions or anything, I'll give you some answers. And Mr. Don, if you've stayed around this whole time and you want a pick, and you said, which one did you say you already had this? The Saints? Mr. Don? If you're hearing me. Well, I think you said the Saints, right? I could pull it up, I guess. I'd have to get on YouTube. Did I miss it? Did you say something again? Mr. Don. Let me pull it up. I can scroll down here. Let me see what we got. Yeah, you had Saints -5, right? Mr. Don, if you are listening and you want another really good play and a winner, you have to take the Broncos on Monday night. I mean, that spread has went from 4-6. It's the return of Russell Wilson. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is that the Seattle Seahawks are devoid of talent. They have, in my opinion, the Seattle Seahawks have 3 talented players on their whole team. The Seattle Seahawks have 3 players that I think would start on any other team in the NFL. Maybe not even be the number ones, but they would at least start. And that's a big problem. That is a massive, ridiculously crazy problem for the Seattle Seahawks. And also, it doesn't matter which quarterback you put in, Geno Smith or Drew Lock, they're no match for the Denver defense. They're not. The Denver defense is going to get... It's not a homer pick. It is not a homer pick. What I'm getting at is that if you're just trying to find an ATS play, an ATS winner, this is it. There's not room here for... I just don't see... Someone, if you think I'm wrong, if someone in here thinks I'm wrong about this, make the case to me, because I can't make the case that the Seattle Seahawks score more than 17 points in this game. I can't make that case. Even if DK Metcalf and Lockett have a touchdown, where else do they get scores from? They would, for Seattle to win this game, or to even keep it competitive, one of those guys will have to have a monster game. I'm talking 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. And even then, is it enough? Because Seattle's defense isn't going to stop anything. And they're definitely not going to stop Russell Wilson that knows him, right? How long has Russell Wilson been shredding that defense in practice? For 10 years. He's been shredding that Seattle defense in practice for 10 years. I just don't see it. I can't make the case. I can't make the case that Seattle has something in store for the far more talented team against their old quarterback that just left. It's not like a new defense. It's all the same guys. And it's all the same scheme. And I don't know. I can't make that correlation. I would be more inclined to say that the Jets, I'll get to that in a second, Alex. I like that. I'd be more inclined to say that the Jets will keep it close against Baltimore before I would say that Seattle could keep it close against Denver. And I don't think the Jets will keep it close against Baltimore, but I would be more inclined to say it because there's no familiarity there. Now, as far as the Giants in Tennessee, I actually like that. I like that a lot. I think the Giants... The problem is are they going to be ready week 1? That's the issue with the Giants for me. I think that they hired the right coach to turn Daniel Jones into a version of Josh Allen. I think they did everything correct there. But is it going to happen week 1? The thing is I think it won't start showing up until about week 4 or week 5. But it's not like the Titans are bringing a bunch to the table either, right? They got a running game. You know they can run the football. Their receivers, I like Treylon Burks, obviously Arkansas guy, but he's a rookie. Robert Woods is coming off of injury. I don't know. I make the case that the Titans are that much better than the Giants right now. I don't know that they are. Are they laying more than a field goal better? I don't know. I don't know, Tara. I haven't got into that game fully yet on a full breakdown on it yet, but just from what I've seen, the glances I've got, I don't know. Daniel Jones looked pretty sharp at times under the Dable scheme. He looked pretty sharp. That ball was coming out pretty sharp. I actually think the skill players for the Giants are better overall than the Titans. You know, obviously Derrick Henry's a monster, but if you have a healthy Saquon Barkley, you know, he's pretty good. The Giants have a pretty good receiver group if they're all playing good football. So, I don't know. That game is a lot closer than people might think. The Giants definitely have a shot in it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Giants win the game. Not at all. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants lead most of the game. Because I don't trust Tennessee's offense and Mike Vrabel. You know, Mike Vrabel is not known for just trying to, you know, when the Tennessee runs up the score on people, it's because the other team can't stop the run. It's not really when they like throw the ball over the field. And on top of that, the Titans lost their best pass rusher. He's out for the season. He tore his ACL last week. So that's a big deal. You can't lose your best pass rusher the week before the games start. That's not going to work. I don't know. There's a lot in the favor of the Giants. The points, I can think of it right now. If I was just making a pick right now, it'd be the Giants and the points. It would. It'd definitely be the Giants with the points. I would rather put my money there than laying the points. That's for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants do win. Now, guys, this is a look. This is me talking about with my knowledge of the teams as of they are right now. I haven't done a dive into this one, but I have a feeling I'll end up on the Giants and the points. So, yeah, no, Alex, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good two-way play. You take the points and you take the money line. Hopefully they win. If not, you know, you play it so obviously the points pay more then you play it on the money line. That way, if as long as the points win, you win. But the money line hits, then bam, there you go. You know, you're in there. So, no, I like it. Giants and the points sounds pretty good. And like I said, I highly doubt that'll change. Anything will change my mind between now and game time, but it definitely could when I get a deeper dive. But it seems unlikely. If anything, I would just say lay off of it if I was going to have my mind changed. But most likely, I'll be on the Giants in those points. And it's 4.5, I think. Something like that. Or 5.5. I feel like the Giants are in a really good teaser spot. Like, I feel like if they're getting 3, 4.5, Panthers and the Ravens in a 6-point teaser, I like it a lot. I actually think the Panthers win their first 2 games. If you're a Panthers guy, I think number one, I think Jacoby Brissett is not the answer to any football team, even in the interim. And number 2, I don't think the Panthers are afraid of Cleveland's running game. If you remember last year, the Panthers were actually a pretty good defense until Darnold made them look like a bad defense. So I expect the Panthers to actually be able to stop the run somewhat. And Jacoby Brissett's not scaring them. I actually think Baker Mayfield, I think there's a little bit of fire there. And the Panthers are healthy. You know, the Panthers are healthy all the way around. Christian McCaffrey's healthy. We all know Christian McCaffrey's on the field. The Panthers are a very different football team. I feel like the Panthers are the better team. Going in, I think they'll win. I think they win the first 2 games. The second game is against those Giants. And I think the Panthers get people's hopes up. And most likely we'll see Christian McCaffrey get hurt again because that seems to be what happens. But I don't know. I like the Panthers survival pool bets. I think so too. I think Baker is serious in this game. I would be highly surprised if Baker doesn't have a monster game. I would be surprised. Now, don't get me wrong. The Cleveland defense is no joke. They have some pass rushers. They're pretty good in the secondary. They're going to know Baker pretty well. He's going to know them, though. That's going to be an interesting thing there. That's going to be very interesting. I do think the Panthers can block them up most of the time. Obviously, you still got to deal with Myles Garrett, which is never a fun task. I have a feeling that the Panthers are going to roll away from him a lot and deal with Clowney instead. I don't know. Like I said, my son just went 4-0, boys. So if you're not on the Justice train, he is now 4-0. Phillies just won the game. My son, 4 picks in a row, Mr. 4-0 himself, Justice. Get on the Justice train. It's only winners. Only winners. That kid is a monster. Them stupid Mets are going to ruin this damn parlay. Well, they already did, but them pricks. Stupid Mets. The other teams are all going to win. I mean, the Phillies just won. I'm talking about the parlay I gave out to everybody, guys. I gave them all out to my subscribers. Or my purchasers, whatever I call them. What are you guys? You guys are probably purchasers. Braves are up 3-0. The Astros are 3-3, but you know the Rangers haven't scored since they had their good inning. The Astros just keep chipping away. I fully believe the Astros will win, and the damn Braves will win, and the stupid Mets are going to ruin a 4-pick money line parlay. Jerks. Anyways, it doesn't look like my over bet's going to get there, but that's because they decided to not score tonight. Oh well. But with that said, yeah, I like that. I like the Panthers myself. I actually, I was on the Panthers on their win total. I think 2 of the wins are the first 2 games. Guys, the NFL is absolutely my expertise. college football would be second. College basketball would be third. And I would say baseball with me, Major League Baseball would be my fourth, expertise-wise. If you guys remember my NCAA picks and stuff for the tournament, I was rocking. If you guys remember that time, a couple months back, they were on fire. Anyone that was on me then got paid, and especially the national championship run right there from like the Elite Eight on. I barely missed. It was just on. I actually called the national championship down to like what exactly happened. It seemed like, but it was just a good run. I love college basketball. College basketball is one of my favorite things, so I pay a lot of attention to it. But baseball is my fourth best thing, and I think people can tell. I'm not the best at baseball. I'm not even going to act like I am. But when it comes to college football, pro football, I got a good grip on those. But yeah. Any other pro football questions or college football questions? I think we have some interesting matchups in college football coming up here this weekend. Is Texas going to even be able to sniff Alabama? That's an interesting one, right? Are they even going to be able to get in the game? I don't know. Alabama looked pretty good, but it was against Utah State. So I don't know what that means. Probably nothing. There's some other ones. Is Cincinnati that good, or was Arkansas, the middle of their secondary, just that bad? Because Cincinnati scored on a bunch of these balls over the middle, deep over the middle in that game. Arkansas dominated the game for the most part, but 3 or 4 footballs went flying over the middle for touchdowns. So, I mean, Hawaii scored against Michigan. That spread is so out there, isn't it? What is that, like 51 or 54 or something like that? That spread is... Here's the problem with that spread. 7 touchdowns is 49. So it's at least 8 touchdowns. Michigan has to score 8 touchdowns. Right? So okay. So it's 7 touchdowns on a field goal. Michigan to just cover the spread, at minimum, they have to score 7 touchdowns and a field goal. And that would be if Hawaii scored nothing. If the Hawaii scored absolutely nothing, Michigan would have to score 7 touchdowns and a field goal. I mean, that's a lot. That's an insane number. Can they do it? Yeah, they probably can. Because who put 70? Miami put 70 on someone this week. 70 points. Michigan, and what didn't Vanderbilt put like 62 on Miami, or 62 on Hawaii? And I would not say Vanderbilt is in the same league as Michigan. I wouldn't say that's very close. So I don't know, man. That's the weirdest stay away I've ever heard of, I think. What's the total in that game? Is the total like 54? The total is like 54 or something, right? Because the total will be a telling thing on what the line makers think. Because if they're giving up 51, the total, it has to be 54 or so. Let me look at that. That's so weird. Just because that's the outrageousness of that spread. It's the overall outrageousness of it, right? So that total has to be higher than that spread. Where's this at? Let me see. What time is that on? Like 2 in the morning? It's at 67? Wow. So let's think about this for a second, right? So that total is 67, and the line makers are expecting Michigan to cover 51. That means that they think Hawaii is going to score 14 to 17 points. That is wow. I don't know. That's a very, very unusual line. That's very unusual. Just in the semantics of the line. To cover 51, obviously you would need to be scoring 60-ish. To make sure, even if Hawaii scored a touchdown. I don't know. It's a weird one. To me, it seems like the logical play is to take Hawaii on the money line. That was just a joke. Hawaii on the money line. What's the money line? Plus 14 million? But no, I don't know, man. It's you're talking about 51 points. They have to score 7 touchdowns on a field goal just to cover if Hawaii doesn't score. If Hawaii doesn't score, who does Michigan have after that? This could be an interesting trap spot. Nope. They get Connecticut after that. So that spread will be 49. Here's my thing. Okay, so let's just talk about how much time does it take to score a touchdown? Just based in time to score a touchdown. At least 3 minutes on average, right? 3-minute drive to score a touchdown on average. So that would mean that even if they were flying up and down the field, they were flying all the way up and down the field, could they get to 10 touchdowns in the game? Because that's what it's going to take to cover the 67 is 10 touchdowns essentially. I don't know. I don't know. Seems unlikely. The 51, I have no idea about either. It just seems high. Seems real high. The 67, in the sense that Hawaii's not going to score. Yeah, it's going to have to be defensive scores, block punts, right? It's all that stuff, right? Quick scores is the way it happens, right? It seems like the under 67 makes the most sense based in the idea that, let's say Michigan gets to 55 points, it's 55 to 0, and then they just third string it out. You know, their third stringers are in there. And that's where you'd get the Hawaii cover, right? That's where you'd get the Hawaii cover is when at the end of the game, when the third stringers are in there, let's say it's 58 to 0. They put maybe first half. Yeah, the first half sounds much more interesting. I agree. I'm just trying to make the case that I'm trying to justify 51 points with a 67 point total. I'm trying to figure out where. I mean, the line makers to get over that 67 are relying on one team to do all of the work. That's what's getting me there. That 67 is relying on Michigan to score 60. That's what's crazy to me there. So I would almost be, what is Michigan's team total? That's what I would be looking for. Is what's Michigan's team total? Because I would be looking for Michigan's team total over. Because I think Michigan's team total over will have to be 49, maybe 47, something like that. And that seems way more logical to me. Way more realistic than covering 51. I know not all places will offer team total overs, especially on games like that. A lot of times they don't offer them, but I think that's the most logical play there. Or you bet defensive touchdowns for Michigan. If you can find that prop, if you can find a defensive touchdown prop for Michigan, I think that is also a very good play. Yeah, that's where they're getting them numbers, isn't it? But did they cover 51 in those games? I mean, Michigan's better than both of those teams by a large margin. This could be a crazy outcome, right? This could be like a 70-point game for Michigan. That is exciting to me that we could see a 70-point Michigan performance. Like, that's very exciting to me. I don't know. That seems like a ton to me. It seems like a lot. The total even seems like a lot based on the idea that I don't think Hawaii's going to do very much offensively. If I was just going to play the normal plays on it, I would be looking at the under. This under 67 is where I'd be leaning. Especially if Michigan... No. Especially if Michigan decides to kind of pack it in the fourth quarter when they're up 50-0. Man. Virginia. I don't know on that, Don. I have to do a little more research on Virginia. The Illinois-Indiana game was an awesome football game. I don't know if you guys watched that football game, but it was a very good football game. I don't know. Yeah, four, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would lay the 4. That's for sure. Just I haven't done no research on that game yet, but I don't feel like I would want to lay the 4. So definitely the +4 makes more sense to me. Another thing, guys, I'm not afraid to tease college games, and I don't think the same special numbers apply in college as much. Where in pros 3s and 7s and 4s, when the teaser is what matters, right? That's the numbers you're trying to tease. In college, I think if you can get to double digits, where you're taking double-digit points with a teaser from single digits, I think a lot of times it's a good play, because a lot of times you get these rivalry games that come down to the wire, and they're 4-point spreads like this, and you can take it up to 10, and it actually really lightens the risk of losing in these games. Especially rivalry, like the rivalry games in college, in my opinion, are the most teasable games there are. So when you get like the Iron Bowl and you get Bedlam and these games that traditionally are close, the teaser is so big in them. And I tend to tease those games just because you get so many 3-point games that, teasing it, you're already there. So any kind of tight matched college game, I like the teasers. That's why I mostly stick to the SEC and the Big Ten, because there's a lot of evenly matched games in those conferences. Not usually the best team is usually a lot better, or maybe the best 2 teams, but from like 3 to 10 will be very equal in those conferences, and that's what I look for. I like when I'm using teasers. That's what I look for when I'm using teasers. is I'd like the teams to be equally matched, and because that usually leads to close games. And so the teaser then has a ton of value. I know a lot of people are opposed to teasing college. I am not. I think the same type of stuff applies. If you're seeing spots where adding points makes a lot of sense, it makes a lot of sense in whatever you're doing, whether it's college, pro, or badminton. I don't care what it is. You know, you're changing the handicap from what expert line makers think it should be to something favorable to yourself. So I don't think there's anything wrong with teasing college games. I know some line makers do, and some odds. Some handicappers do, but I don't. I don't personally. I think if you want to tease. In fact, in the first weekend, I gave out a teaser that hit. So I mean, to me, teasing college games makes just as much sense. Now, teasing 51-point spreads down to 45, I don't think that makes any sense. I like that's where I think they're coming from on it, is that teasing those big spreads down, there's not a lot of value there. You might as well just bet it. But as far as teasing them close games, I think there's nothing wrong with them. I just think you should always take the points. I don't think you, like in college football, one of the things I don't think teasing from like 6.5 down to just win matters all that much compared to pro football. Now, we did that last week in the Arkansas game, but that's because that was a more pro style game, right? Cincinnati, Arkansas was a more pro style handicap. Like the teams fit more of the parity. Whereas, you know, when you're seeing 51-point spreads or something, teaser probably doesn't matter. But on the flip side of that, in college, you get a lot of these 13 and 16 and 17-point spreads. In my opinion, when you see those spreads, the teaser starts to matter a lot on the points, right? Because if you got a 14-point spread, but you can take it up to 20, that's a whole touchdown. That's a lot different in those games. You know, teams that can win by 14 can't always win by 20 in college. So I actually think there's some value there as well in those weird, or like the 11s. If you get the 11's a crazy number, but you see it a lot in college games. 11, but you can tease it up to 17, which is a very nice number to have. And so that's one of the things I think that gets overlooked a little bit in college with teasers, is that there is spots where they're valuable. They're just different than the NFL spots, you know. The 8, you see a lot of 8.5s in college. If you tease an 8.5 up, it's 14.5. You know, that's a lot different. That's a lot different. You're talking about 2 full touchdowns and something else on the 8.5s. And that works in the pros, but you don't see a lot of 8.5s in pros. They don't do it a lot in pros because they know every Joe better out there will go tease that up to 14.5. So I just think that the teaser as a whole, just the teaser itself has allowed so much more manipulation of betting. I think books, if they could, would get rid of the teasers, but there's such a high volume bet now that they kind of got to keep them, because I think they take baths on them every week. I know they took a bath on them this week in college, because the games that definitely got teased up and down the board were Arkansas, Florida State, probably yes, tease every Iowa game. Yes, because you're teasing doubling their point total. Yeah. But there's a couple more that they definitely got hammered on, just because that's where the teasers would have fell. What is the other one? I think they probably made money on Oregon, though, because I bet you a lot of people had Oregon teased up. Florida was the other one. Yeah, that was it. Everyone was teasing Florida. So Florida State, Arkansas, And there was one more. I saw something on this where they just teased the crap out of these games, and they were all winners. Hell, I teased some of them myself. I thought Ole Miss was a good teaser, and ended up needing the teaser to cover. But I thought that was a good teaser too. But anyways, that's I don't have an issue at all with teasers. I think teasers even the playing field with the books. And just I don't do over 2-team teasers is my thing. Unless I'm just going to put in like a 20-team teaser or 10-team teaser, something crazy for a little bit of money, I don't ever go over 2 teams because that's how you win. If you only have to win 2 of them as opposed to 3, the percentage goes way down when you have to win 3. And even further down when you have to win 4 and 5. The percentage gets bad, really, really bad. But with 2, it's just like making a 110 bet on the line. So it's just like making a normal ATS bet. The percentages work out to the same. So 2-team teaser, 6-point teaser. Just pay attention to your teasing numbers. Remember, the 2 things I tease, you're teasing numbers, right? You're trying to get to certain numbers. Or I also tease, are the teams very equal? If they're very equal, then the teaser's valuable to me. If it's going to be a close game, and it's going to be a close game because the talent level is the same, then the teaser is great. And that's what I think. So that's where I'm at on teasers. I love teasers. I use them all the time. So no. 4-team parlay is the huge majority of the time you might as well just give your money away. If you think it's a winner, I guess put it in. But 4-team parlay, you're just if I can't remember what the odds on the 4-team parlay, it's like 15% or 14% of the time they hit or something like that. It's really low. Whatever it is, it's really low. I know you'd think, well, if they're paying 11 to 1, 14% of the time hitting, I should make money. But you don't, because those 14%, as far as how the average works, it might stretch out 50 or 60 of them, before you win 1 or 2. And then, you're going to have a run where you win 5 or 6 in 10, but it's not going to equal the bad run. The truth is with parlays is you should never parlay over 2 games. Should never do it. It's just so much harder to hit 3 or to hit 4 than it is to hit 2. The odds don't pay enough to make it worth enough. And even though you see them guys every now and then, they hit like 12 teamers and get paid $85,000. $10 home dogs on the docket. Home dogs. Or your college football home dog. Home dog is home dog, man. I did. Yes, I did. But I also prefaced that with a bunch of 2-team parlays. So it wasn't just that. And I also said bet the game singly. So, and as you know, Mr. Enslow, I very rarely give them out. That's like the second one all year, maybe. And I also said that's because we did so well on the live betting last night. He's calling me out. But yes, I did, and we lost because the Mets are stupid. And these other 3 games are going to win. So now I'm going to look stupid because we went 75% and missed a damn 4-teamer. That's the one thing about 4-pick parlays, right? You can go 75% all day long and lose. But no, yeah, I don't really play. I don't really play parlays. I just don't. 2-picker. No, that's not true. I play 2-pick parlays a lot, but just 2 picks. I don't go past 2 picks very rarely. I might put 10 2-picks in a day, but I just don't do them bigger parlays. It's just too hard to win them. That's the problem. They just don't win enough. You know, I besides the point of making money, when you lose all the time and you're just losing and losing and losing, hoping to hit one big one, even if it does come and you get all your money back, just the thought of losing all the time until you get the one right, I don't like that. I don't like the lottery thing. I'm not into that. I want to have consistency. I want to be winners and winners and winners at a consistent rate, something I can count on. And that's the way I like to handicap. I don't want to have to hit big money line picks all the time. Every now and then hit 1 out of 4 or something to break even though I understand the math behind it. I just that style of handicapping is very depressing to me. And I don't like being depressed when I'm betting. So I don't like to think, dang it, I keep losing, and then finally hit, and you're like, yay, and then 3 weeks go by and you're losing, and you finally hit again. I don't like that style of play. So I stay away from those kind of bets, and that's why I make heavy favorite bets a lot, and I like to win. Survivor pool in college or pro? College or pro, Mr. Googs? So I think the best survivor pool pick in pro is one that people probably aren't thinking about. And I actually really like it. I think it's a very good one. In pro, NFL, okay, survivor pick. Because you're going to get a lot of chances to take this team where you'll want to, right? You took the Titans, okay. I mean, that's as good as any, right? Titans are playing Giants. They could easily win. But I think that it's a really good spot to take Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. And I know people aren't going to like that. But I don't think Cincinnati fixed their defensive line in one season when they retooled the whole thing. And I don't think you're going to get a lot of spots where you're going to like Pittsburgh later. I think they're going to have a lot of tough games. They're going to win a bunch of them. But I think that week 1, it's a good spot. And I think it's an unusual pick. But if you want something safer that people aren't going to like, it's normal. I mean, there's the top 5 picks, right? You got Baltimore. Baltimore's a good pick. You got Baltimore, Denver, Saints. Yes. Baltimore, Denver, Saints. There's another one it's a really teasable game. There's another one that's just like that, though. That they're all kind of the same. A lot of people like Miami, too. A lot of people like Miami to beat New England week 1. I'm not going to bet against Belichick till I know he's on the downslide, because a lot of people thought that last season, too, and they ended up in the playoffs. The Broncos are a really good pick for week 1. I agree with that. They're in the right spot to get a win. And another thing about the Broncos is they're not going to have a lot of spots you want to play them later on either, because they're going to be playing the AFC West a bunch. So you might want to get the Broncos out early here on Seattle, because they're not going to have a bunch of spots where you're going to like them then. I do think Carolina has some good spots because you're getting 2 Atlanta games. So you can get Carolina later against Atlanta. That's another good one. But yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I agree. I think the Broncos, you're not going to find a bunch of spots later on where they're good plays. But some other teams kind of fall, the thing about the survivor pools is you always get beat on the one you don't think you're going to lose on, right? It's not even one of the hard picks. Like last year, so many people got beat on the Tennessee Jets game, right? It was week 4. I lost it too. I had COVID that week. And week 4, Tennessee Jets, and the Jets beat them. And it killed killed a ton of people. Like, I can't remember. It was like 85% of the survivor pools went out right there, or something like that. Some crazy number, because it was definitely the most lopsided game on the docket that day on the slate, and the Jets beat them. But yeah, COVID got the Titans. That's right. But yeah, that was the week. I was on a roll last year too. Week 1, 2, and 3, I was crushing it. When are we getting the DiceCon video? I put out a thing about DiceCon like a couple weeks ago. I put a video out talking about it. I don't know what you want to know. If you want to know anything, you can just email me. I'll tell you. Text me or whatever. I believe it or not, guys, like I said in that video, DiceCon was very overwhelming to me. The whole weekend, I wasn't prepared for my distribution of time. I didn't have enough time for everybody that I wanted to have time for, was one of the big problems. And still try to do the things I was trying to do there. I needed more time. And it was just hard on me. I didn't handle it very well, as far as that's concerned. I did hang out with a lot of cool people, and I did try to make some contacts and stuff, but it didn't work out exactly how I thought it would. Yeah, obviously, I would say, man, Vegas was overwhelming to me. If I was going to say that I liked it or didn't like it, I would say I didn't like it. I didn't really care for it. One of the things I didn't like was how crowded the craps tables are there. And I get that we were there mostly on a weekend, which obviously causes that problem. But I didn't like how crowded they let them get, is what I'm getting at. Like, when I was at Ellis Island with some people, this table had so many people around it that I was on stick right one, and I couldn't even stand at the table. I had that little piece of the that little piece of the rail that's not even like a whole piece. That's the piece I had. So I didn't even have like a whole rail section. I just had that little piece to be on stick right one. And I didn't like it. So, believe it or not, the best craps I had in Vegas was right when I first got there. Me and Todd went down to Plaza, and we kicked ass at the Plaza for about an hour on a very uncrowded table in the middle of the day. And then at the Tropicana, when we had a DiceCon meetup there, we had a pretty good run where a girl hit the part of the ATS. And then we were standing at the Excalibur, me and Todd, and the Excalibur's tables, when you get like really late at night, would clear out. And I actually liked the Excalibur's tables. I thought they were some of the better tables. Obviously, I didn't go a ton of places. Binion's was fun. It was packed when we were there. And I wasn't even on the DiceCon table. I was on the other table. But a guy went on a crazy roll, and I made a bunch of money on the hard four. But yeah, overall, man, it was just really, really overwhelming for me. The DiceCon was. Was it great? It was absolutely great. Actually, at Casino Quest, part of it was really cool. But it was even really, really crowded. It was really crowded in there. If you've never been to Casino Quest is just like a little shop in the mall. It's not big. So we had a lot of people in there, or well, Jeremy did. It was his thing. So there was a lot of people in there, and it was pretty crowded. It was really good, though. Like, he did a good job in there. I'll get for sure. Jeremy did a really good job in there. Yeah, it was a lot of people, man. It was a lot for me. The next time I went, when I go again, I'm sure I will. It's going to be I'm going to do it a little different. Did I do the 30-row challenge? I did not. That's how crowded it was in there. I did plan on doing the 30 roll challenge, but it was so crowded that they didn't have any of that going on. Like they had like this roll challenge thing, but it was just like Jeremy's thing, and whoever won like this medal and stuff. So it was kind of cool. But yeah, it was just so crowded. But next time I go, I'm going to go essentially with not during an event, so I can go to Casino Quest and hang out with those guys a little bit and do that. And God, believe it or not, guys, I want to go to King Dice's thing. I didn't get a chance to do that. I really wanted to. And I didn't get a chance to do it. I would like to go see it, and I would like to go see what he's got going on there. So that's my other plan, is when I go back, I'd like to do that. But also, I would also like to go play craps there during the week when I can get on some of the tables that I liked during the week. But I mean, I know I'm different than everyone, right? I don't mind King Dice. King Dice to me he's who he is. He's doing his own thing, and he's changed his attitude a lot lately. I've seen a couple of his videos. He's changed his attitude toward craps a lot and stuff, and kind of come down to earth a little bit, I think. But again, I think he's great. I think he's done a cool job, the cool thing there. So I'd like to check it out. But again, I didn't really have enough time to do all the things I want to do, be around all the people I want to be around, try to give some people that had really expected me to give them some of my time. I didn't get to, and I hate that happened. Leopard can't change its spots, eh? Maybe not. But anyways, that's what I'm saying, is that I didn't get to do all the things that I was hoping that I was going to get to do. But again, it's not like there's not more chances. There's plenty more chances. As far as winning money goes, I won plenty of money playing craps. Lost it all back betting on the Razorbacks baseball. So the Razorbacks were playing Ole Miss right then, and basically I lost the money there. Pretty much just there, which was kind of interesting. I did lose some money playing roulette too, so because I got bored playing craps. That's the truth. We're playing craps with the Tropicana, and I got bored with it. We were playing for a while. A lot of people were there. So there was a roulette table right there. I just sat down right there, and that didn't go very well. My roulette strategy is not sound. It's very loose, I'll say that. But anyway, it's been an hour and a half, guys. Thank you for your time. I'm going to post this description for this Thursday Night Football NFL opener in the description. So if you guys want to go look back at it, it's a lot of information. You guys will be able to check it out. I think you'll like it. And you guys have a great night.